Are skin wolves any good in patch 5.1? Let's do something different. Let's take a faction dumped on as the worst of the entire game by lots of YouTubers, take one of its best units that receives near universal praise, and show it off for views and ad rev for the interest and fulfillment of the audience. Let's howl eagerly and rush right in. Recruited for 950 gold and 238 upkeep. On Ultra Size, you get 24 entities considered large targets, with 7,416 health between them. Armor is a paltry 15, physical resistance 20, leadership 60, which is okay, speed 75, charge speed 100, so quite brisk, with a melee attack starting at 32, which doesn't seem that good. Attack interval the standard 4, with a splash target size of small, so they only splash common foot infantry, and a maximum target damage of 3. Anything larger takes full damage from a single strike. Melee defense starts at 28, which is alright but nothing impressive. Weapon strength is given at 60, split between base 40 and armor piercing 20, so this is actually aimed at less armored opponents. However, there is a bonus versus large of 30, not far from the top tier in the game. A Feral Carnosaur has 35, for example, virtually doubling melee attack and adding 50% to weapon strength, split along the base and armor piercing ratio per above. Charge bonus is 32, and mass is 1300 per entity. Since someone suggested I cover the armored version too, here it is, with somewhat increased cost, slightly decreased speed, and 70 armor as opposed to 15. Note the continued presence of physical resistance 20%, so against physical damage that's not armor piercing, these are very tanky. Against magical attack that's not armor piercing, they are still fairly resilient. Magical and armor piercing, bad. The unit can hide in forest, has causes fear, therefore immunity to fear, has Strider, has old school regeneration including 20% weakness to fire, and has Frenzy, granting immunity to psychology while it's up, and it's up unless down to under 50% of base morale, such as being damaged enough to drive it that low. Otherwise, granting plus 10 melee attack and plus 10% to both weapon strength and charge bonus, and of course, charge bonus is added to weapon strength when applicable. In the redline skills, Frostbitten provides a maximum of plus 6 melee attack and plus 12% weapon strength at 3 pips, and seriously, what more do you need here? Icy Wrath provides rank 7 skin wolves and up with plus 5 melee attack, plus 12% more weapon strength, and plus 12 flat charge bonus, which is about the most perfect set of bonuses I can imagine for them. In the tech tree, aside from upkeep production and a charge bonus plus 10 for late game techs, what we're mostly seeing is Blood-Fueled Hunger, granting plus 5 melee attack and plus 10% weapon strength, regardless of redline skills and unit rank, and being to Morsley, minus 10% recruitment cost and plus 5 melee defense. Put simply, that's a lot of stacking offensive power and paper-thin amounts of defense aside from the physical resistance, while having far faster speed than most monstrous infantry, and certainly most demonic infantry, which is what this would be compared to thanks to that physical resistance. Now, what's not here? Magical attack or any other special kind of debuff. On their own, skin wolves are brutal physical powerhouses, but they hit softer against proper demons than against pure physical opponents. Also, the weakness to fire becomes an issue against certain factions and certain spells, anyone with a Lore of Fire caster handy included. So how do we use the skin wolves? That's the thing, it's clear what the right use is, but you can probably get away with an awful lot of wrong uses just by the profile. Even though you quite frankly don't have any business ramming them against basic Empire spearmen and expecting good results, what about crossbowmen, archers, handgunners, artillery, and take another set of examples. How about one of the gold per pound terrors of the game, Centaurs? Centaurs will be ripped into horseflesh. Peasant horsemen, same. Pistoliers, same, as long as they get caught. How about trolls? Both regenerate, but basic trolls without heavy armor will be outnumbered and hit very, very hard. And even though trolls hit back just as much, armor piercing is meaningless here and the physical resistance softens the blows. Skin wolves can also be used meaningfully against even more armored opponents, but your returns will be diminishing with the level of armor. Having said that, having 32 attack plus 10 from Frenzy plus 30 from Anti-Large plus Red Tree first line and Tech Tree boost for another 11 would be melee attack 83 before charge bonuses. How are Reichsguard going to fare in prolonged melee? Not that great. Anything you can do to turn an opponent's head and let the skin wolves hit the unprotected backs, and I don't mean unarmored, I mean it's a free shot, lets the damage dealer do damage. And if you sandwich a foe between two Skin Wolf units, one will take more punishment, but the sandwiched unit will be destroyed more often than not. Skin Wolves are high risk and high reward. Sure, you can go up against a really bad matchup and get them shredded, but the kind of speed they're putting out at this price point gives you options to make destroying them very hard. Short of picking a grudge fight with Scarbrand himself, they'd probably have at least some prospect of doing real damage before being wrecked. Other opponents might have a flaming damage or magical damage component, but rarely both at the same time. Those issues aside, you don't bring them for resilience, you bring them for damage. Damage is what the Skin Wolves deliver, and well, if you need something better as a hammer to smash infantry masses, Norsca has that. You will always need anti-large butchering, and sometimes just having the speed to get behind the enemy is all you need to win. Now, the armored version is actually a lot more resilient for some minor cost in terms of gold and a minor enough speed debuff. They don't hit any harder, but being tougher means that barring special circumstances, they'll hit for longer, and that often is just as good. Moreover, in more situations, using the armored version tends to be less risky. This is of value to you, and I encourage you to give it a shot and see how far you can get with it. Take care, and have fun moonlighting as a wolf.